Good morning. It's Saturday, June 27th, and we're going to continue our discussion on action and problem solving with a prompt from the Daily Stoic that's particularly relevant for me considering the week that I just wrapped up. And that prompt is, what can this adversity show me? So I just finished my fifth and final interview yesterday morning. My most significant trial in recent memory is now complete, insofar as my efforts go. Now, obviously, there's still a missing chapter to the arc of this story, as I won't find out what the interview panel decided for maybe another week. But I still think that there's plenty to dig into here related to today's prompt. However, when I first began to think about it, I wasn't sure whether I wanted to explore our experience with COVID-19 or my recent experience with these interviews. Then as I began to work through it, I realized that I've been shown many of the same lessons throughout my exposure to both adversities. So number one, don't try to do it all on your own. There are going to be some things for which we are uniquely suited and tasked for. I mean, no one could prepare for or sit in that hot seat this week but me. However, Jen went above and beyond on the domestic front to clear the road ahead for me. By limiting my distractions, she allowed me to direct my energy where it was most needed at that moment. I could have continued to try doing all the things on the home front, but I would have spread myself too thin, and as a result, everything would have suffered. Number two, and somewhat related to that, I had to remember to continue to cultivate stillness when the pressure began to build. It would have been easy for me to just scrap certain activities this week to focus solely on the interviews, but that actually would have been counterproductive. Through lots of trial, error, and repetition, I know what elements of my routine ground me both mentally and physically. So rather than sleep in a bit later, I continued to wake up early to write, work out, and record these videos. I maintained my breath work throughout the day, and I didn't allow myself to stay up late preparing for the next day. As Marcus Aurelius said, when jarred unavoidably by circumstances, revert at once to yourself and don't lose the rhythm more than you can help. You'll have a better grasp of harmony if you keep going back to it. I knew that it was going to be a long, taxing week. Just as with this quarantine, I needed to be prepared to play the long game. I couldn't run the risk of blowing up 2 days in, and instead I needed to maintain that rhythm that Marcus described. Number three, remember what you've learned. You've put in the work, now it's time to put it to use. Throughout this process, I realized that the more that I felt uncertainty and anxiety begin to build, the more that I needed to lean into my foundational principles. Referring to our philosophy, Seneca said, it molds and builds the personality, orders one's life, regulates one's conduct, shows one what one should do and what one should leave undone, sits at the helm, and keeps one on the correct course as one is tossed about in the perilous seas. Without it, no one can lead a life free of worry or fear. So every time I let go and trusted this framework to support me and guide my actions, decisions, and responses to challenging questions, I found myself operating with a heightened sense of confidence and conviction. I was able to quickly move forward and limit any second guessing. So when I look back through these three learnings that I just listed, one central theme emerges. In times of adversity, stillness is the key. But that stillness comes from a collection of sources. We have to rely on the stabilizing and supportive people in our lives. We have to seek protection in the inner citadel that we've built and tested. And we have to look for guidance of our operating system to lay out our roadmap and guide our path forward. Now, we'll have to wait and see what the outcome of the job selection is, but the next time I'm considering how to handle real adversity, whether it's another grueling set of interviews or another few months of home quarantine, these are all the things that I'd be well served to keep in mind. Have a great day. Bye.